WeUNIK world where all hair is good hair, especially when it's healthy. Tune in and see how we create community through hair care.
Hi everyone, welcome back. I am Yanni G.
And I'm Lady T.
And today we're going to be talking to you guys about some tips for length retention. So Lady T, what do you think are some simple ways to retain length? And before that, what exactly is length retention?
So length retention is retaining new growth. There is a myth that black hair does not grow. It's just, it does grow. It grows equally as fast as every other hair. It's just sometimes we do not retain length because our hair breaks faster than it grows. So length retention is holding on to those inches as they come out of your hair, making sure your strands do not break.
Mm-hmm. And so then and I'll also add is that, like, again, it's one thing for your hair to grow. It's another thing for you to actually notice the growth happening. Mm-hmm. So length retention is the ability to see the growth happening because it's not breaking off faster than it's growing. Mm-hmm. So for me, the easiest way to have length retention is, I like to call them lazy hairstyles. It's a style that requires low manipulation to put in, low manipulation to take care of, and low manipulation to take out. But then it brings the question, Mommy, what is low manipulation?
So basically a protective style. Like, this is low manipulation. It goes in once and this style will last for up to 2 months. So I'm not combing or brushing or constantly heavily manipulating my strands. Less chance of breakage.
Yes. And so then the next question would be, well, why is that what it is? It's kind of like if you think about a piece of fabric and you put it through your hands and you just keep doing like this over and over and over again, eventually you're going to start to see it fray, and the more that it frays, eventually the yarn is going to start to come apart, and then it can even eventually break. Mm-hmm. So the more friction that you're using in your hair, the more that you're pulling it, detangling it, messing with it, putting your hands in it, the more it's going to get weaker and weaker per se, and then eventually it can even break off. Now, what are some ways that manipulation can happen that might not be so obvious in day-to-day life?
Sitting on the couch, binge watching a show without your bonnet on is a huge way. One of the things that I think the biggest contributor to not retaining length is improper detangling. So even though that is an obvious manipulation, but improper detangling, if you do everything else right, but you do not detangle the hair right, it will break off and you will feel as if your hair is not growing and you will not achieve length retention. Right.
And then also not properly moisturizing and conditioning. And these are obvious and unobvious, but just things that happen throughout the day that you might not consider actually influence your hair's retention. Just like I like to say with a sponge, if you have a dry sponge and you do like this, it's going to break into 2 pieces. But if you have a sponge that has moisture on it, you do the same thing, you do the same action, and it's going to bend and it's going to bounce pliable. Right back. So if you have moisturized hair and you're detangling it properly, we do have courses that are self-paced on how to detangle and moisturize properly if you guys need help with that. But in general, it's about like the day-to-day maintenance, and also some things that you might not consider when you're in the car, when your head is on your headrest. That's your hair getting friction. Your hair on your clothing is your hair getting friction, because our materials that we wear on clothes are not necessarily created to keep your hair healthy. They're created fast fashion. They're created just to look nice, but cotton is not something that you want to just put on your hair by itself. Like, you wouldn't just go to sleep without covering your hair, and we'll get into that in another video. But the point is that anything that can cause your hair to dry out or take the moisture out of it, or you're pulling and doing too much with it, it can cause your hair to break off.
Yeah, another thing is this is something that parents should think about when we are styling our little ones' hair and we're using rubber bands or scrunchies, even satin scrunchies. If they are used too tightly, that is a friction point. And if you happen to use them during a protective style, the style is no longer protective because the hair is breaking. And you'll notice, like, when styling little girls' hair, a lot of times, like if they have Afro puffs, you'll notice the breakage starts here. where the rubber band or the scrunchie is. So that's another friction point if you use a band or anything to keep your hair in place and you tie it too tightly.
Mm-hmm. That includes even like the ends of beads as well. So it would be advantageous to find other styles that might not require you to put beads at the end, or if you put the extended hair, like the false hair on it, like braiding hair, that's what I'm trying to say, but some people don't know what braiding hair is. But if you tie and you put beads at the end of the braiding hair with the rubber band, doesn't matter because that's not your actual hair. But if your child's hair, you're putting beads because they look cute, we would just first off maybe encourage to find a style that doesn't require you using those rubber bands, those little teeny ones. And though if you do, put a lot more moisture on those particular parts, because the longer that it's in, first of all, it's going to be harder to get out. That's why we typically have to cut those things out. And you're wrapping it tight to hold the beads up in place. So you're literally squeezing the hair. And just like with other things, it can cause it to snap as well. So if you are doing those styles and you are using those little black rubber bands, first off, we would say maybe try to find another way. There are healthier methods of holding up beads. And then if you do need to use those, then really make sure that you're applying an excessive amount of moisturizer on wherever those braids, wherever those rubber bands are being used.
Yeah, and I'll add, because her sisters used to love those braids. They love the Serena Williams braids from back in the day. So, and a lot of times what you said is right. Put the oil on the strands. I see people advising that folks soak the rubber bands in oil, and I have found the oil degrades the bands. So that's not a good thing. But if you put the oil or the pomade or whatever protective moisture locking product on the strands, that's great. And then what I found to be super helpful was don't tie the rubber band so tight. The purpose of using them is to keep the beads in place. I used to like tighten a rubber band like maybe 6 times per braid, and it did keep the beads in place, but it also broke the ends. So maybe tie it 3 or 4 times, just enough to keep the beads in place, but not enough to put additional stress on the ends, which is the weakest part of the hair.
Alrighty. And so again, the easiest way of all the things is to do lazy styles, and you have to think there are alternative things that you can use too. Granted, little girls, even I still love beads, so on occasion I'll be like, oh, fine, let me just put this thing on here. But just don't make that the staple if your goal is to grow hair. Health over the other things, and you can get those clips, you can get, there's other things you can use.
Aluminum foil?
Yeah,
that's real old school.
Aluminum foil?
Yeah, at the ends, back in the day.
What?
That's real old school.
Yeah, I didn't know nothing about that. Oh, wow. Well, yeah, so you can use aluminum foil or anything like that. And just low manipulation creates growth. And sometimes it's not necessarily about the look, because you can still get very nice styles with low manipulation. It's just about expanding your horizon, learning new things, trying new things. And maybe the first time you do it, it's not going to look awesome. But the more you practice, you'll get better and better and better. And also getting comfortable with how natural hair actually looks plays a huge part in it, not trying to force it to look a certain type of way, because that's what society told us. Your hair must be laid, your hair must be this, your hair must be that. Our hair grows the way it grows naturally for a reason. So learning styles that also cater to how your hair naturally is will also allow you to have and retain growth as well.
Amen. And then as previously mentioned, improper detangling, like you can moisturize everything else right, but if you rake roughly through the strands, the hair is going to break. So for additional information on how to properly detangle, we do have a Detangling Textured Hair 101 class that is self-paced. And we also have a moisturizing Textured Hair 101. And why do we have specific modules for those specific things? Because they are that important and that specialized. And if not done properly, all your efforts will fail.
Fair enough. All right. And signing off, I'm Yanni G.
I'm Lady T.
And we'll see you guys in the next one. If you guys have any questions, please comment below, like this video, share, comment, subscribe, hype it up. I don't fully know what hype it up is, but I know that you should do it. And we'll see you guys next time.